don't know what universe and it's a good idea to lay down to rest my eyes before a stream, but anything is possible in the merge. Anywho, doo-doo-doo-doo. First human neural link implanted success. Musk says initial results promising. Now, I am all for transhumanism. I'm all for it. But it's I'm all for it in the same way that I'm all for the death penalty. The but comes in where I don't trust the powers that be, in case for the death penalty, the government, and for transhumanism, in case of transhumanism, I don't trust Musk. You know, I don't trust the people that have power over this to do it right or do it well. But I like the concept. Let's see. Monday announced first human patient received brain implant from his startup Neuralink. Blah blah blah. Just by thinking. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. May the company receive FDA approval to conduct human trials if there is ever a reason to never trust the FDA. With all the shit we've covered, this year is just another straw on the camel's back. Apparently, monkeys have been playing computer games with the implant. Gamer monkeys. Donkey Kong is real. Oh, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. This one gave me a chuckle, even though it's infuriating. U.S. caught known terrorist at border, then let him go due to clerical error. An unnamed individual identified only as a member of the Somali terror group Al Shabaab was caught crossing illegally into the United States at San Isidro at the California border on March 13, 2023, then released into the United States where he roamed freely for nearly a year before he was arrested days ago in Minnesota. The Daily Caller reports citing an anonymous source. Good old border news. Probably got a couple lined up. However, on January 18, 2024, the Terrorist Screening Center made a redetermination that the individual was a confirmed member of Al Shabaab and was involved in the use and manufacture, transport of explosive firearms. The memo states 2 days later, ICE nabbed the Al Shabaab member in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yeah, like the federal level, the border crossing shit is like one giant shit show at this point right now. So I'm not surprised that this terrorist fell through the cracks. So I don't know. The American tax dollars at work. Okay, there's a few EV articles in this lineup. So let's get to it. Shifting gears, dealers urge GM to prioritize hybrids over EVs. So the long and short of it is, for many reasons, the EV bubble is bursting. But a little in light of this here, apparently the hybrid, hybrids, are really promising and doing like gangbusters right now, both in terms of like fuel cost. It's the happy medium between fuel cost and energy cost, and people like in the long term. I have no problem with EVs in the long term, but it's going to be a long term adoption. You can't force it from the top up. It has to be from the bottom up kind of system. And hybrids are a good intermediary for people to kind of ease into it. So I'm okay with this. Yeah, I talked about the other day with Toyota's chairman, former CEO Akito Toyota, recently offered a dose reality that the EVs aren't the future, but instead hybrid vehicles. I agree. Yeah, we also covered a while back with the Ford slashing their F 150 Lightning. Yep. So long and short of it, it's just like the market is pointing out that hybrids seem to be the way to go right now, and I think it's neat. Texas is prepared to Biden federalize the state national guard. Okay, just on the concept alone of federalizing the national guard, like federalizing a state's national guard, I swear to God, that has to be like issue number one for like immediate like civil war. Like that's like immediate like federal overreach. I mean, like the American government as it was founded and stuff outside of fucking Hamilton, it, like the founding fathers did not like their job. They did not want a federal government. They hated the concept of a federal government. It was a necessary evil at the time. And the fact that it's a bloated mess right now, and there's talks of like, federalizing a state's, standing national guard. It's just like, what the fuck? This is like retarded. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said his state is prepared to deal with President Joe Biden potentially federalizing his National Guard and the Lone Star State utilizes his troops to secure the border. Blah, blah, blah. We've been over this a while back. Yeah, so they've been harping on this Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, which reserves to this state the right of self defense. You know, yeah, this is Texas Constitution, so Clause 3. Yeah, and we also covered how a bunch of other southern red states are also kind of backing back like Texas right now is like the face of a lot of Republican states are just like, okay, this border shit is getting stupid, and fuck Biden and fuck Washington D.C. at this point. Yeah, it's mostly stuff we've covered already. But like a lot of the stuff I cover is like ongoing stuff, and it's like just like little incremental updates, and this is just one of them. Okay, this is pure clown world. European Union wants all gender language erased. The European Union body has called for all gender language to be purged from existence, including completely innocuous sayings such as Joe Public, as well as words such as virile, which claims are too often associated with men. Oh, the horror! Associated with the monsters known as men. Where are my smelling salts? I'm about to get in touch with the vapors. Telegraph reports the European. Okay, this is funny. The European Institute for Gender Equality, a 61-page document outlined words that should be wiped from existence and more substantive replacements. Okay, fuck these guys because The European Union has a shit ton of languages in it, and a shit ton of them are gender-based languages. So good luck, good luck on this whole retarded notion. The document is named Toolkit on Gender Sensitive Communication. Example of words and terms that we resigned to document history includes master of ceremonies, no man's land, manpower, and repairman. The next thing you want to tell me that hole in the ground is called a person hole cover. Comply average citizen. This is utter madness. This is attacking the English language. I agree. Okay, this is fucking funny. The EU also suggests swapping around words king and queen, so queen comes first. The fundamental problem with this is the reason king first is because he's the guy in charge. Agreed. Okay, where this gets really creepy, however, is where is with the call to erase words that have nothing to do with gender. The document suggests words like bossy, pushy, and shrill should not be used because they have strong connotations and strongly associated only with women. Yeah, I'm reminded of the Japanese word for noisy, which is just like three characters, which is like the female characters, like female, 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 multiple females. It's noisy. Yeah, it's like sounds like it's true. The female sports commentator is annoyingly high pitched and has very grating voice. Is that acceptable? Oh, cheekiness. Yeah. Again, just your daily reminder of you how you control thought. You control thought by language, and it's shit like this. It's like eight. 84 George Orwell's 1984 was an instruction manual to certain people, and we all know those quote unquote people. Okay, this one's retarded. UK cop orders Christian singer to stop singing church songs in public. Video footage of a support officer ordering a young Christian singer to stop performing gospel songs in public at London's Oxford Street has gone viral. I have a hard time telling whether this is a man or a woman, and given that's the UK, this is a very pertinent question. Jim Sterling, is that you? The officer who's an unpaid volunteer, which is even more funnier. This is an unpaid wage slave. Actually, he's not even a wage slave because he's not even getting the wage. He's just a slave. This is a slave. You see in the video telling a 20-year-old performer Harmony London. Okay. Can't get more British than that. Harmony London. She is not allowed to sing church songs outside church grounds. A young singer who has an impressive online following protested against the claim, telling the officer, "You are." The officer continued bizarrely claimed the gospel songs cannot be sung in the street unless you have been authorized by a church to do these kind of songs. That's a load of rubbish, the singer responded, adding that hassling her and making up fake laws based on her religion goes against her human rights, which is true. The officer then attempted to walk off, bizarrely sticking her tongue out at the camera laughing. Okay, so apparently it's a chick. There are no laws in the UK preventing religious songs being sung in public. The Oxford Street is sanctioned busking area. A Metropolitan Police spokesperson commented that they are working to understand the context which these comments were made. One wonders if this would have been an issue if it had been a different religion in question. Yeah, really. Yeah, it makes you wonder. Okay, so my one of my little pet ongoing stories is deep sea mining, specifically deep sea mining resource nodules. Now, I've covered both sides as far as the pro and against over a while now, and this one here, this take is retarded. Deep sea mining could contribute to increasing the scale speed of climate change. A study. Okay, so this is going to be stupid. I'm going to go slow. I'm going to read this verbatim and go slowly and explain why this is stupid. I mean, this is stupid for me. This hurts me. This hurts me on a geological level. This is like really retarded. The reach. These retards are going for. Disturbing the seabed through activities such as trawling and deep sea mining could increase the scale and speed of climate change, according to new research. In a paper published in the Journal of Frontiers in Marine Science, an international team of researchers detailed that they are systematically surveying animals living at 17 different sites in the Arctic Ocean floor. They found that they are storing more carbon than initially thought. Water. Previous calculations have underestimated how much carbon is being removed by marine life because they were based on data from through throats on the ocean floor. Terry Schuster, the study's lead author and researcher at the Arctic University of Norway, said in the media statement, "We systematically assessed a wider range of seafloor sites and found that far more carbon is being removed in continental shelf waters." Schuster and her colleagues looked at a variety of seabed habitats, including throats, roof. I'm assuming they're talking about underwater. I'm assuming they're talking about channels, underwater channels, because I haven't heard that term. I haven't seen that term before. And shallower waters. During two cruises on board RS James Clark Ross in 2017 and 2019, they took almost 1,000 photos of the seabed floor using an underwater camera and analyzed these to see what creatures are present in each habitat. The team also collected samples to see how much carbon they contain. Seafloor animals such as corals, sponges, snails, and others extract carbon from their food and surrounding water to grow and build their skeletons. This is the important part. When they died, their bodies are buried in sediments in the ocean floor, permanently locking away much of the carbon they contain. Now, this the there are two biological rock deposits. One are silicates. So you have like silicate skeleton animals like sponges and a bunch of plankton, and the other one you have is carbonates, which is the issue in question here, the carbon. And it's the same deal, like other kinds of sponges and other kinds of plankton and stuff. You pretty much have two options for making a skeleton in the ocean. You have like silica and carbonate for invertebrates. I mean, for invertebrate skeletons. Now, when an organism it takes up these materials and stuff, like, okay, in this case the carbon, when it makes carbonate and locks up the carbon, it's in the skeleton. It's not like it's a free floating carbon dioxide. It's like a skeleton. It is a mineral, and it gets deposited in the ocean. And what they're saying is what they're saying here is when you mess up the bottom of the ocean, you scoop up and like make a big cloud of all these like microscopic skeletons full of carbonate and stuff. But here's the thing: it's a mineral. It's a mineral dust. Like even if it's in the water, like once you disturb it and stuff, it's just going to settle back down. Okay, it's not going to float. Like this is like the bottom of the fucking ocean. You make a big mud. You make a big mud cloud at the bottom of the ocean with all these carbonate, like microscopic skeletons and stuff. But it's not going to all float to the top of the water column, to the surface, like reach the air, like reach the atmosphere, and magically these carbonate skeletons will go back into the atmosphere. That's not how it fucking works. It's like, what kind of black Norwegian magic are they thinking is going on here? Are like elves or trolls involved? Like, it makes no fucking sense. Seafloor animals. Carbon capture and stored away by life in the world's oceans and coastal wetlands is known as blue carbon and plays a critical role in reducing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Polar coastal ecosystems store much less carbon than mangroves and seagrass meadows per unit, but are huge in area, and some are increasing in response to ice loss. This means they're important like terrestrial forests. This study highlights how little we know about the functionality of life in the deep, how it affects global carbon cycle, and the benefits nature in the ocean bring society. Dave Barnes, paper co-author and researcher, British Antarctic Study, said we don't know which deeper seabed areas store most carbon, so we don't know what areas need to be prioritized for conservation. Commercial exploitation is racing ahead before we even know what we'll be damaging and losing. In the research review, the new study could inform current political debates about bottom trawling and deep sea mining. While some governments call for an international memorandum of seabed mining until scientific gaps have been filled, others started taking steps towards launching mining operations of their own. Earlier this month, Norway became the first country in the world to move forward with commercial commercial scale deep sea mining, inviting companies to apply for mining permits in national waters. Meanwhile, the International Seabed Authority is currently drafting regulations that could eventually allow seabed mining in international waters. Like this here closing context stuff we covered before and stuff. But I really have to hammer in. So, like, when the animals make the carbonate skeletons, that mechanism, that is what is locking up the carbon. You know, like like your marble and limestone. Like that's what marble and limestone is the millions of years worth of dead animal skeletons of carbonate and silica. And it's just like their rationale, the saying that disturbing the bottom of the ocean will magically make all this carbon come back into the system. It's like, no, it's locked up as those skeletons. Okay? It's not going to get back into the system. Like, it's taken out of the system. The only way it's going to get back into the system if it gets back up to the surface and, like, acid rain hits it and it gets back into the water table and shit like that. And it's just like, it makes no fucking sense. I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up on this, but it like the reach, like I said before, it is the reach that these lunatics are going for. It's like, oh, like this here is gonna contribute to climate change and doom us all. It's like, fuck off. It makes no goddamn sense. Get bent. Fuck. I hate these mental midgets. I'm gonna call them what they are. I hate these communists. Fuck them. Okay, this one here to get me back in a better mood. Diversity Exposition laughably claims original Brits were black. I've heard about this before, but apparently they went full ham. Or should I say full kang? Or fully a goob. An expedition celebrating an expedition an exhibition celebrating diversity in London laughably claims that the first Britons were black and that Britain was black 7,000 years before white people arrived. Or before Yakub made them. And they went off reservation. The Brilliant Black British History exhibition held at Black Cultural Archives at Brixton, South London, received taxpayer funding to spout patently false nonsense. Many such cases. The very first display panel in the exhibition states by testing DNA, scientists made an amazing discovery. The first migrants to Britain around 12,000 years ago had black skin. Yes, that's right. The very first Britons were black. Fact check. Nope. This is all based on an infamous Cheddar Man hoax, the oldest set of human remains to have been found in Britain, who researchers initially claimed had possible skin pigmentation from dark to black. The exhibition also falsely claimed that the Roman Emperor Septimus Severus was a black Roman ruler when in reality he had Italian and Middle Eastern descent. The exhibition was blasted by Cambridge historian Professor David Abulafia. Abulafia? The most English of names. The presence of a very small number of Africans in this country over 2 millennia up to the 19th century is exaggerated out of all proportion, and most of these Africans were from north of the continent and white or light brown, he asserted. It's a little surprised that the exhibition also absurdly inaccurately given as based on Bloomsbury children's book The Brilliant Black British History by Antinuk, a Nigerian-born poet and author. And bullshit artist. The book claims that the black people built Stonehenge despite there being absolutely no evidence of this at all. We was Mesolithic hunter-gatherers in sheet. I agree. As we document in the video, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, yeah, like this is like an ongoing thing. Like children at school in the UK being taught that Saint Hadrian, an abbot who played a pivotal role in the early history of the English Church, was black, despite the fact there was no record of him being black at all. Oh, I do remember covering this a while back, and there's another similar case. The BBC had to remove a plaque they had installed celebrating the first Black Briton after scientific evidence revealed the person was not African, but from Cyprus. Again, race activists will seize upon any indication that a historical figure didn't have porcelain white skin and claim they came from sub-Saharan Africa to push diversity propaganda and attack heritage of native white Britons. This all points to I really like this point. This all points to the fact that sub-Saharan Africa has actually produced next to nothing in terms of important historical figures, culture, or anything of value, which is why they have to lie so profusely about it via government-funded fake museum exhibitions. It's like I agree. It's like all the Jesse Smollett fake race crap. Yeah, nowadays it's like there's nothing to fight. Okay, there's still stuff out there to fight for and stuff, but they're not going to do anything that actually takes you know sacrifice. It's like, hey, you want women's rights? Go to the fucking Middle East. It's like they're not going to do it. It's like yeah, it's like you want to help out the black man, go to fucking Africa and help them sort shit out. It's like, of course not gonna fucking do that. Okay, this one here gave me a really good chuckle too. Just months after massive labor deal, UPS announces massive layoffs. Unions never work. When you have a union come in, that is a death knell. When will people learn that communism doesn't work? How it started. The most pro union president in history, President Biden, applauded the Teamsters and logistics company United Parcel Services last summer for agreeing on a new labor contract that would significantly boost pay. How it's going. US UPS workers approved massive new labor deal with big raise on August 23rd, 2023. UPS to cut 12,000 positions on January 30th, 2024. Doing what? 5 months after unionizing, UPS workers ratified a massive 5-year labor deal that included massive pay bumps. The logistics company announced on Tuesday morning that 12,000 jobs, or about 14% of its 85,000 management jobs, will be cut. Now, they're picking on the man. They're okay. Here's the deal. They have to, when a company needs to cut costs, the quickest and easiest thing to do and the most logical thing to do is to fire people because labor cost is the biggest expenditure of any company. Doesn't matter what you do. And since like the union came in and stuff, they're probably not touching the unions like members specifically, which would be like the drivers and shit. And so they're going after management right now, but they're going to come for like the union eventually anyway, just because like, look, we can't afford you guys. Tough shit. You can union all you want. If we can't afford you, take a hike. That's just how it goes. Chief Executive Officer Carol Tomei was quoted on an earnings call by Bloomberg saying job reductions were due to sliding package demands and soaring union labor costs. She said layoffs would save the company around $1 billion this year. Blah blah blah. More waffling stuff. Blah blah blah. Thousand UPS drivers are about to find out what the natural end result of unionizing negotiated raises in the free market means for their employment. This is one development the Biden administration will ignore or be forced to deflect blame, as they are wont to do. I'm seeing my bit rate flipping between red and orange. Is anyone actually watching? And what is the quality on your guys' end, if anyone is? Because I had like 10 views on the last video at this time slot, so I know someone's watching. Where was I? Click demo. Struggling for recruits, UV, U.S. Navy. Wow, I'm just butchering all the English. U.S. Navy lowers education standard. I am not living proof of this, as I'm not a U.S. citizen. Heyo. Let's see. U.S. Navy said on January 26th they will start to enlist those who didn't graduate from high school in the latest attempt to fill its ranks in the wake of a recruiting crisis that troubles every branch of the United States military. This has been going on for a while, But this is another instance of showing of how desperate they are getting. Under a new plan, Navy recruits without a high school diploma will be able to join as long as they score 50 or higher on the Armed Forces qualification test, which is used to determine basic eligibility for military service. The highest possible AFQT score is 99. Those without a GED or credential, without a GED. Okay, those without a GED can also enlist as long as they pass the qualification test too. Going over history. Last time they did this was in 2000. Trying the sales pitch that you can get your GED while being in the Navy. Oh God! On top of those measures, the Navy introduced a program aimed at those without the body composition requirement for joining services. Potential recruits could go through a 3-week program at Great Lake, Illinois boot camp, where they would get fitness help to meet the requirements. Back camp. This is how desperate. It's like, are you too stupid and too fat to be in the military? Well, come on right in anyway. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Going over more statistics. They failed to get officers too. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. So the collapsing empire continues to collapse. News at 11. Mm-hmm. Fire engulfs massive chicken plant in Texas. Recall the surge of headlines in 2022 about mysterious fires at food processing plants. I remember this. The question many have for 2024: will a series of mysterious fires erupt at food plants across the U.S. while radical World Economic Forum elites continue their info campaign to reset the supply chain? According to BBC News, the first big fire of the year was reported at a large chicken farm in a rural part of northeast Brazos County in Texas. Big ass fire. The blaze of Feathercrest Farms, located near Fickey Road, east of Curtin, was reported shortly after 5 p.m. local time. Authorities stated Monday night they might take several days to extinguish the fire completely. Yeah, all that good chicken going to go waste. Such a shame. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Like a lot of here's the thing: a lot of forest fires are actually arson, and going on with these here fires, and it's like I, you know, I know that most of the food plant fires are also arson, but it's like very nefarious arson because there's a political slant to it. So it's like, if only there was a word to describe political violence using terroristic activities for a political goal. If it was only a word, it maybe started with a T. This says what it is. Yeah. Speaking of fires, it must be stopped. 12 agricultural officials warned largest U.S. banks about net zero agenda. So this is like this has been going on for a little while now. That the ESG gravy train is coming to an end. Thank God, finally. But again, there has people are getting in their heads to rightfully say like, okay, we should put measures in place so this shit doesn't happen again. Let's see, a dozen Republican state agricultural commissioners have penned a letter to 6 U.S. mega banks, informing them that their push for ESG investing could wind up leading to price increases and may impact food availability. The letter was sent to executives of Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, and Wells Fargo, and took exception with the group's membership in the UN organization Net Zero Banking Alliance. According to Fox News, the NZBA is committed to financing ambitious climate change, change financing ambitious climate action. Freudian slip. And is attempting to force the economy to net zero greenhouse emissions by 2050. The letter notes that it could result in severe consequences for farmers. The letter reads, achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions in agriculture requires a complete overhaul of on-farm infrastructure. One of the goals of the NZBA, blah, 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 bullshit. The letter says then to make matters worse, these changes will increase food costs and decrease food production at a time when global food demand is expected to rise dramatically. Again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. You and I are the carbon they want to get rid of. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, here's the rub. Like unelected, like these globalist elites, unelected officials, the powers that be, whatever you want to call them, these fucking idiots want to rule the world. That's what it comes down to, and they are perfectly willing and able to burn the world to the ground to get what they want, and they don't think that they'll be affected by this because that's how far up their ass their head is. Like the echo chamber bubble concept is a thing, and it is fucking scary of how out of touch with reality these people are. So I know I wish these guys the best in getting through to the banks, but yeah, we'll see. Like BlackRock money is running dry, so they'll probably get their way. I've heard about this. I don't think I've talked about it yet. CDC issues health alert over measles cases across the U.S. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention on Thursday sent a notice of health care providers to stay alert for measles cases after multiple outbreaks were reported in recent weeks, along with an instance where an international traveler may have exposed thousands to the virus at two Washington area airports. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so measles isn't the only thing that's kind of making a roaring comeback. Like, there are a lot of diseases in the world that have never been eradicated and probably will never be eradicated and stuff. It's just that they've been quote unquote eradicated in certain areas of the United States being one of them. And they're making a roaring comeback. And this is one of many, 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 many consequences of going the open border route is that there's no quality control and quality assurance of the people coming in. And a lot of these quote unquote eradicated diseases are suddenly making a roaring comeback, and the experts don't know why. Wow, it's almost like that open door and people coming in, coughing and wheezing and scratching. Might have something to do with this latest little issue. But don't you dare point it out, you fucking goy. You reap what you sow. Okay, this here made me chuckle. Taxpayer funded electric buses are sitting broken down and idle across the country. Stop us if you heard this one before. Raise his hand. But the billions of dollars we're spending to convert the country to clean energy in order to reduce carbon emissions is being allocated poorly. We know the government spending isn't that efficient. We were shocked too. The latest example comes from the idea that our tax money should be responsible for instituting electric buses nationwide. As Fox News reported this week, the idea has been nothing short of a total disaster, with buses breaking down and unused across the nation. Fox cites several examples, including authorities in Nashville, North Carolina, who encountered numerous difficulties difficulties with their electric bus fleet, leading to idling of 3 out of 5 buses bought in 2018 for millions. These challenges stem from an assortment of software glitches, mechanical failures, and unavailability of necessary spare parts. In a similar vein, the Denver Gazette highlighted issues in Colorado Springs, where the Mountain Metropolitan Transit's electric bus initiative faces setbacks. Of the 4 e-buses procured in 2021, each costing $1.2 million, primarily funded by government grants, are 2 currently non-operational. One of the key reasons the electric bus industry is an evolving free market has already sent in a message by bankrupting its key supplier and largest e-bus manufacturing U.S. company called Proterra. It filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in August, exacerbating issues for cities with the buses. Despite being promoted by President Biden, having former Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm on his board, the company faced other challenges. For example, the business model that doesn't work even with massive government subsidies. Ooh, ooh. Zero Hedge, I love you, especially when you're being cheeky. Asheville's interim transportation director, Jessica Morris, reported difficulties in obtaining parts post bankruptcy. The Proterra's problems predate the bankruptcy in 2020. The SEPTA in Philadelphia pulled its 24 million Proterra fleet, and in 2021, Foothill Transit in California reported over half of its electric buses idle. Other affected areas include Stockton, Reno, Louisville, where Tark's entire fleet remained unused for 2 years, and Austin, where Capital Metro's 46 million deal with Proterra faces delays. Broward County, Florida's experience with particularly telling, with Proterra buses breaking down far more frequently than diesel counterparts, highlighting challenges in transitioning to electric public transportation, the report says. Now, Fox reports the company is trying to make a comeback. Jose Paul, Chief Revenue Officer of its new holding company, Phoenix Motorcars, discussed the company's acquisition of Proterra's world-class technology of Fox Business. He compared the evolution of electric vehicles in the early days of the Model T, noting that Proterra's buses have been improving over time. Paul acknowledges challenges faced by Proterra's customers, like Asheville, particularly due to part shortages following the bankruptcy. He revealed Phoenix Motorcars' immediate plan to restock the spare parts and address supplier issues. Paul expressed optimism that the issues caused by Proterra's bankruptcy would be resolved within 6 to 9 months, emphasizing Phoenix's commitment to customer satisfaction. And the name Phoenix just hit me like a truck. Okay, they're trying to go a little on the nose there. uh, oh, the green silliness. Okay, go Mormons. Utah passes bill banning DEI and men using women's bathroom. The Utah legislature on January 26th approved two conservative-minded bills that prompted Democrats to don all black in mourning. One that bans men from women's bathrooms, and another that ejects diversity, equity, and inclusion from public education. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. So, yeah, not really much to say. The bill, the bill passed, and funny enough, I didn't get a funny name like the "Don't Say Gay" bill in Florida did way back when. But sanity prevailed. So, I'm just a little happy white pill news from the land of Mormons. Okay, this one's a little crazy. Watch EcoLoon tells Brits there's a moral issue with having children. An environmental lobbyist told British viewers of British news channel GB News Tuesday that having children presents a moral issue because of the amount of carbon they will produce over the course of their lifetime. This is saying the quiet part out loud. You and I are the carbon they want to get rid of. This is the quiet part. You're saying it out loud. You are being stupid. Again, like I said this before, and I'll say it again. I can respect on some level evil when it's competent. This is incompetent evil. You are incompetent. So you have my scorn before, but you can have my scorn and respect at the same time. You have my scorn and you do not have my respect because you are evil and stupid. Try to be evil and smart. Just going over, I got a post in Discord. You can read it verbatim. This is just like insanity. Oh, POTUS Watson. You must always mug the camera in your thumbnails. Okay, there's gonna be a follow up to this one here, but I've been covering the farmer protests for a while now. Europe erupts in widespread farmer protests as revolt against green policies intensifies. Is there anything worth talking about this other than a prelude for what's going to come up later? Now, so the farmer protests are still going on right now, and I'm going to come back to this here topic in a few minutes. So just put a pin in that one for now. Okay, this one here is this one hurts. This hurts me at my soul. Man who destroyed satanic shrine in Iowa Capitol charged with hate crime. No, what you should do is give this man a medal and a blowjob. Michael Cassidy, a Christian veteran who decapitated the satanic shrine on display at the Iowa State Capitol building, has been charged with a hate crime. Look at that, Chad. This man did no wrong. If you object to literal satanic displays of public buildings, you are now hateful. Back in December, Cassidy beheaded the caped figure placed in the building as a satanic temple and threw the goat skull he was serving as his head in the bin. Cassidy was quoted as stating they took the action to awaken Christians and the anti-Christian acts promoted by our government. Instead of simply charging him with misdemeanor charges to property or vandalism, the Des Moines Register reports that the Polk County prosecutor charging the veteran with felony third-degree criminal mischief, arguing that it was an act in violation of individual rights under Iowa's hate crime statute. The statement from Polk County Attorney's Office claimed that evidence shows the defendant made statements to law enforcement and public indicating he destroyed a property because of the victim's religion. Cassidy is raising money for legal defense in his Give Send Go page, which notes out of millions of Christians in this nation, Cassidy is the first to act bravely in bravery and conviction. He is not willing to see God reviled, especially in a building where lawmakers are supposed to honor Jesus Christ as King and took law to his law for wisdom as they legislate with justice and righteousness. From Zero Hedge, and of course, leftists have been tearing down statues all over the county with impunity. Yes, this is the thing. It's okay when certain people do it. Okay, my connection is in the green. No, it's in red. Why are you like this? Yeah, so I wish him the best. Hopefully, he gets thrown out. In news that should not surprise anyone, I'm certainly not surprised. Trillions spent on climate change based on faulty temperature data, climate experts say. The devil, you say. Zing. To preserve a livable planet, the Earth can't be warm more than 1.5 degrees Celsius by pre-industrial levels, the United Nations warns. Into the rubbish bin you go, United Nations. Okay, but a growing chorus of climate scientists are saying that the temperature readings are faulty and trillions of dollars pouring in, excuse me, are based on a problem that doesn't exist. More than 90% of NOAA's temperature monitoring stations have a heat bias. This is very interesting. Monitoring stations have a heat bias, according to Anthony Watts, a meteorologist, senior fellow for the Environment and Climate at Heartland Institute, author, climate website. What's up with that? and director of study to examine NOAA's climate stations. And with that large number, over 90% the methods of NOAA employs to try to reduce this don't work because the bias is so overwhelming. Mr. Watts told the Epoch Times few stations that are left are not biased because they are, for example, outside of a town and field and are in agricultural research stations been around for 100 years. That their data gets completely swamped by much larger set of bias data. There's no way you can ingest that. Now here comes word bias. Word biases. Let's see. The surface thermometer data still have spurious warming effects due to urban heat, to the urban heat island. This is where the rub comes in, which increases over time. Okay, so here's where the explanation is. The urban heat island effect causes higher temperatures in areas where there are more buildings, roads, and other forms of infrastructure to absorb and radiate the sun's heat, according to Environmental Protection Agency. The agency estimates that daytime temperatures in urban areas are 1 to 7 degrees Fahrenheit higher than temperatures in outlying areas, and nighttime temperatures are about 2 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit higher. Consequently, the NOAA requires all its climate observation stations to be located at least 100 feet away from elements such as concrete, asphalt, and buildings. But here's the thing: a lot of this shit isn't. So a lot of this. So the takeaway from this here is that, oops, the takeaway from this here is that the quote unquote increase in temperature is an artifact of the data recording. So you have all these weather stations in the middle of a hot city, and it's giving you hot readings. So this is a very clear example of the concept of garbage in, garbage out when it comes to your data. But this is good, quote unquote, good data for the powers that be because it proves, it reinforces their bias in that, oh yeah, climate change, the end of the world, blah blah blah. Like this faulty information goes into their it plays into their hand. And just rereading this, I was reminded that Watts guy that was mentioned earlier and stuff. Uh, Peter Hadfield was having Peter Hadfield's a British science journalist I used to follow for many years and stuff, but after a while he kind of went off the deep end, and especially when it came to climate stuff. And like I used to like him because his undergrad was geology, and he was a decent science reporter, but he kind of started being a mouthpiece for the powers that be, and then like I'm seeing a lot of these names of like people he had beef with, but in hindsight, it's kind of just like, no, these people making more sense than you are, Peter, and it's just like now I'm, stuff like this. I'm kind of just like, okay, now I'm like, I stopped watching Peter Hatfield like a long time ago, and now I'm just kind of like more justified. It's like, okay, you know, I said this before and I'll say this again. My gut is always right, and it takes a while for my brain to catch up with why it's right. And it's one of those things where like I stopped watching Peter Hatfield like ages ago, and then it's just like, okay, but why? But now it's kind of like, okay, now I know why. Carrying on. However, in March 2009, Mr. Watts released a report that showed 89% of NOAA's stations had heat bias issues due to being located within 100 feet of those elements, and many were located in airport runways. We found stations located next to exhaust fans of air conditioning units surrounded by asphalt parking lots and roads, on blistering hot rooftops, and near sidewalks and buildings that absorb and radiate heat, Mr. Watts said. We found 68 stations located at wastewater treatment plants where a process of waste digestion causes temperatures to go higher than the surrounding areas. The report concluded the U.S. temperature record was unreliable, and because it was considered the best in the world, global temperatures databases were also compromised and unreliable. It's like, this is the thing. It's just like, okay, yes, this all makes sense. You know, It's like garbage data collection, garbage in, garbage out. Makes sense. Story checks out. Needs needs to update the system, adjustments, blah blah blah. The biggest bias is the urban heat island effect. What happens is that because the heat retained by surfaces and released in the air at night, the night's low temperature is not as low as it could be if the thermometer were outside of town in the field. Blah, blah, blah. He said even though both NOAA and NASA claims that they can adjust their data to account for the urban heat island effect, the bias is impossible to overcome because the problem impacts 96% of service stations. Like here's the thing. NOAA and NASA have had nonstop issues over the decades of data collection methodology and stuff, and it's like, oh, this data is bad, well, we can massage it and clean it. It's like, no, you can't. It's bad data, you have to get rid of it. That's the thing. Like they'll try to justify it, and like I've seen this many times and it infuriates me. It's like, no, we can clean up the data. It's like, no, you can't. The data is compromised. It is garbage. You have to throw it out. It is useless. You have to start again from scratch and do it right. That's the only way. That's the only way you can do it. And it's just like, so infuriating. There are times I hate being a scientist because like I'm not one of those scientists where I know everything and I think I know everything. No, I know I'm a retard. I know I'm a retard. But because I know I'm a retard, like I don't want you to, it's like I don't want you to talk down on me from on high because I know that you, in fact, are also a retard. So don't you talk down to me when we're on the same level, you fucking piece of shit. Okay, this one also made me feel good. Four states consider lifting taxes on precious metals. Like I read a couple of these here before, but this is just like more ongoing stuff. Citizens in Georgia, Kentucky, Wisconsin, and Kansas may soon enjoy lower taxes on precious metals if recently introduced pro metal bills are made in law in 2024. Earlier this month, all four states introduced reintroduced bills that would exempt precious metals from either state sales tax in Kentucky and Wisconsin or state income tax, Georgia and Kansas. Going over the pros and cons of metal versus fiat, but the long and short of it is that ever since the United States went off the gold standard, there's been so many impediments put between the common person and precious metals and stuff as like a barrier to entry, and doesn't matter how small it is, getting rid of even one or two barriers of the cost of entry and stuff should is ought to be commended. And just going over all the other things we covered before. So, this is good news. So I wish these states the best, and yeah, gold and silver for the win. Okay, don't stop coming for white bills. Arizona lawmaker introduces bill requiring schools to teach about harms of communism. Yes, Yuri Bezmenov should be taught in school. Excuse me. An Arizona state GOP lawmaker has introduced a bill that will require schools to teach about the harms of communist regimes, and including such ills as poverty, the suppression of speech, and systematic lethal violence, otherwise known as Communism 101. I like this line. And secondly, if it doesn't work in the real world, he insisted, it doesn't work anywhere. Agreed. No, I wasn't. Okay, no, I was going to say I wasn't aware of this, but no, I'm aware of Victim of Communism Day. But it looks like in this bill also indicates that the Victims of Communism Day would not be a legal holiday, meaning no off time. Rather, it would be observed in schools, which would provide instruction on that day, or an alternate one if school isn't in session that day of the harms of communism. The curriculum will be developed, which would include such components as instruction on former Chinese Communist Party leaders Mao Zedong and the Cultural Revolution in China. Under CCP's rule, is estimated between 60 million and 8 million people were killed, exceeding the total number of casualties in both world wars combined. Other possible choices for instruction that day would be about Mao, Stalin, Lenin, and the Russian Revolution. Blah, blah, blah. I kind of like the little personal touch on this here. The issue is personal for Mr. Toma, whose family fled then communist Romania when he was a child. It's not just my background, he told Arizona Capital Times. It's the background of many other people, including currently in China, in North Korea, Vietnam, places like that still have communism, that still have to deal with it, not to mention the amount of damage, and again, millions or hundreds of millions have lost their lives or more, he added. And it's just like, yeah, I'm all aboard for this. It looks like there's other bills in other states making their way to, roughly to the effect this year too, which is great. Yeah, so I wish the bill the best because fuck communism. Okay, in the ongoing saga that is the devaluation and at this point non-existent relevance of the perceived respect that is post-secondary education. Oregon University will no longer give D or F grades. Citing wrong-headed GPA fixation, Western Oregon University leaders have announced a plan to abolish D and F grades for students. Now here's the thing. So the long and short of this year is that the D and F courses, like the zeros you get, won't be counted towards your GPA average and stuff. It won't affect the GPA, which is like the final metric of like the point. It's like your GPA. So magically get like you're not going to get the credit and stuff. You have to retake it and stuff, but the failure itself would not affect your GPA, which is fucking retarded. Then what's even the fucking point of having a GPA if you just like magically get rid of the bad stuff, to massage the numbers? And of course, that's all it is just massaging the numbers to make you look better. And it's just like, okay, well, then that devalues the worth because it can't be trusted. It's like diversity hires. It's like, did you get in on your merit or because you're a diversity hire? It's the same shit as this. And it's just like, fuck off. Just fuck off. No, it just pissing me off. Okay, speaking of the failure of academia, entirely counterfeit. Of course, Harvard has one of these. Harvard chief diversity officer plagiarized at least 40 times, according to complaint. Weeks after resignation of Harvard President Claudine Gay over a plagiarism scandal, the university's chief diversity inclusion officer, Sherry Ann Charlson, has been accused of doing the same. What a fucking shock. Color me surprised. According to a Monday complaint filed with the university, as well as analysis by Washington Free Beacon's Aaron Siberium, large portions of Charleston's work very clearly appears to have been lifted from others without so much as quotation marks. She even took credit for her own husband's work, according to a report. The complaint made 40 allegations of plagiarism that span the entirety of Charleston's thin publication record. In her 2009 dissertation submitted to the University of Michigan, Charleston quoted or paraphrases nearly a dozen scholars without proper attribution, the complaint alleges. In her sole peer-reviewed journal article, co-authored with her husband, LeVar Charlson, in 2014, the couple recycled much of a 2012 study published by LeVar Charleston, the deputy vice chancellor for diversity and inclusion at University of Wisconsin Madison, framing all material as new research. Those through that sleight of hand, Sherry Ann Charleston effectively took credit for her husband's work. The 2014 paper, which also co-authored with Gerlando Jackson, now dean of Michigan State University's College of Education, and appeared in the Journal of Negro Education. And I can't even. Journal of Negro Education has the same methods, findings, and description of survey subjects as the 2012 study, which involved interviews with black computer science students and was first published in the Journal of Diversity of Higher Education. Oh my fucking god. Research is fraud, pure and simple. I agree. Oh god. Prior to joining Harvard in August 2020, Charleston was Chief Affirmative Action Officer at the University of Wisconsin Madison. After joining Harvard, she served on the staff advisory committee, which helped to choose Claudine Gay as president in December 2022. The Harvard Crimson reports. Charleston taught gender studies courses at the University of Wisconsin, what her bio describes as one of the nation's leading experts in diversity, whose works involve translating diversity and inclusion research into practice for students, staff, research, postdoctoral fellows, and the faculties of color. Apparently, it also includes copious use of Control C, Control V. Sure, Charleston appears to have used somebody else's research without proper attribution. Former Villanova University political theory professor Steve McGuire, who reviewed two of Charleston papers, Beacon reports. And uh, I almost need to smoke after that one because it's just like fucking hell. This shit just never ends. Speaking of which, clown world does not stop. Portland declares emergency over fentanyl crisis 3 years after decriminalizing drug possession. Who could have foreseen this? The idiots running Portland, Oregon have declared a 90-day state of emergency over an ongoing fentanyl crisis just 3 years after decriminalizing possession of all drugs. Bravo. Actually, no, wait, I'm going to hit my soundboard for this one. Damn it. I don't think I have a clapping one. Nope. Nope. Wait. No, I do. Ah, gotta get more use out of the soundboard. Oh my god! Okay, so it looks like so Wheeler. It looks like Wheeler's still the mayor of Portland. I'm amazed. All the shit that's gone on, he's still fucking mayor. Wow. God damn, this shit does not stop. Okay, this one here is pretty funny too. Greta Thunberg trial starts in London. The trial of Swedish climate campaigner Greta Thunberg and four others for refusing to end an oil protest outside of London Industry Summit last year began Thursday. Thunberg, now 21, was arrested in October last year while protesting outside the Intercontinental Hotel in central London during a summit attended by global oil executives. Excuse me. The trial is by judge without jury and is estimated it will last 2 days until judgment, with each defendant facing a maximum fine of 2,500 Great British pounds. So, last year, Greta and some of her friends were doing what the typical climate protester crap and trying to just block people from being able to do shit. And in a rare instance of the UK police doing their fucking job, they all got arrested and hauled off. And now it looks like the trial is going to start. So I don't know. Not really much to say about that other than get fucked. This is kind of more of like an essay or kind of like an amalgamation of information we've covered, but it's still interesting to go through. Is ESG investing in decline? Yes. The answer is yes. These days, ESG investments have lost their luster given higher interest rates, political backlash, and greenwashing scrutiny. 2021, during the pandemic boom, U.S. sustainable funds hit a record of 358 billion in assets, up from 95 billion in 2017. But since then, investor interest has waned as higher borrowing costs impact capital investment intensive clean tech stocks. Also, the fact that BlackRock is pissing money, and that's starting to piss off investors. And the SEC is starting to get a little antsy. Yeah, so like during the highs, and then boom, fucking drop like a rock, like a black rock. Haha. I need hotkey the fucking rim shot sound. Yeah, so I don't know. It's shit we covered before. ESG's on the on the way out, and I'm all for it. Okay, this one here, yeah, this one here is infuriating. Acid attack in London prompts manhunt, but no description of subject. I wonder fucking why. Who could have done it? I'm gonna guess his name's either Ahmed or Muhammad. Just saying. NASA attack in London left 9 people injured. It has prompted a huge manhunt, although some are asking why police haven't released a description of the subject. Yes, it's a very interesting thing. Almost mission critical, you might say. But here's the pisser. 2 children, their mother, 3 members of the public, and at least 3 police officers suffered injuries when a corrosive substance was thrown at them during the incident, which took place in Clapham, South London last night. Suspect involved grabbed one of the children and threw them to the ground. And the lady shouted, my eyes, called police, my eyes, said an eyewitness. Then I saw him run. It was also traumatizing. It's like, fuck these fucking savages. Actually, no, wait, that's an insult to savages. These fucking demons. Fucking demons. It's a picture of the scene showing car door up in the middle of the night, or on helicopter to catch the person responsible. Blah, blah, blah. However, authorities have not released a description of the perpetrator, despite the fact he represents a clear danger to the public, and despite asking the public to share any information that might be useful. Respondents on Next demanded no why. Look for a description of the news from the police of the suspect and the acid attack. I guess their silence is a description of sorts. Yeah, really. If a man is still at large for the horrific acid attack in Clapham, wouldn't it be sensible for the police to release a description of the subject to help the public apprehend him, help police, and to stay safe? No doubt this will end up being another example of how diversity is the greatest strength, with acid attacks now a fairly regular feature in big city life in the UK. I refer it when acid attacks barely happen, teachers are not threatened by organized mobs, and MPs did not have to factor in the serious fear of assassination. Stuff like this happens in London these days, and it hardly makes a ripple in the news cycle and will be forgotten within 2 days. Yeah, it's a sad thing. It's like, fuck. Burn it all to the ground at this point. Going back to the car EV shit. Natural evolution. Volvo shares soar on plans to stop funding cash burning Polestar. Shares of the electric vehicle companies have been battered since the midpoint of 2022. The price war with Tesla started about 1 year ago has made the environment even more challenging for EV automakers. On Thursday, Swedish automaker Volvo Car AB announced that as a result, Volvo cars will no longer provide further funding to Polestar. In an earnings report, Volvo said Polestar is entering the next exciting phase of a journey with straightening business plan. I should probably mention that. Volvo spun off their EV portion of the company to the new company is called Polestar, and they spun it off as its own thing to have it separated, and they were still funding and financing it and stuff. But it looks like they're pulling the plug on it. And of course, that they're since they're not going to be pissing money away at it anymore, the investors are like, hallelujah, fucking finally. And that's kind of like long and short of it. So, another instance of sanity prevailing. Funny how sanity prevails when you start running out of other people's money. Eh, could say that about many things. Something works until you run out of other people's money. Okay, so we're finally coming back to the what I mentioned earlier about the farmer protest in Europe. Chaos erupts in Brussels as rubber bullets fired at farmers protesting outside EU Parliament. Rubber bullets and water cannons were deployed against hundreds of European farmers protesting outside EU Parliament building in Brussels on Thursday. The farmers threw eggs, set off fireworks, and started fires near buildings, and while demanding the European leaders stop punishing them with more taxes and rising costs imposed to finance a so-called green agenda. So the fire protests are going on, and it's finally come to a head where the powers that be are cracking down. So it's just like they're not fucking having any of it. Protesters coincide the protests coincide with Thursday summit of EU leaders, with farmers calling them to scrap agriculture and environmental regulations implemented by leadership in Brussels. According to reports, farmers have broken through the barricade outside of Parliament and also ignited smoke bombs. We want to stop these crazy laws come every single day from coming for we want to stop these crazy laws that come every single day from the European Commission, said Jose Maria Castilla, a farmer in Brussels representing the Spanish Farmers Union, etc. etc. I speak Spanish. The protests come as EU leaders meet to discuss 50 billion aid packages in Ukraine for Belgian Prime Minister Alexander De Croo said the farmers' concerns would be added to Summer's agenda, saying it's important that we listen to them, adding they face gigantic challenges. Yeah, challenges you fucking retards started. Fuck you. The growing unrest over Europe's punishment of farmers has also been seen in Italy, Portugal, France, Greece, and Germany as farmers express outrage over green regulations and cheap imports. And also, I remember covering when they literally smeared shit over the government buildings. That was fun. I think I was in France. I think I was in France. Good times. Yep. So we'll see how this here goes. I'm rooting for the farmers because it shouldn't be. They shouldn't need. I should not have to say it. Root for the farmers. Okay, this one here is a little chuckle worthy. Most litigious place on earth. Disney loses major challenge to Florida. Let's see. Okay, so TLDR for backstory. Uh, Disney promoted their social justice crap. Florida governor says, okay, bet, we're going to revoke your special administrative status of Disneyland. Pretty much back in the day, the Florida government gave Disney carte blanche to do what they want with the land and stuff, tax free, and just do whatever, make the state money and stuff. But here's the thing: the state can always revoke that, and so they did. So the state of Florida revoked their special status, and then Disney threw a little hissy fit, and it's like, "Oh, we're going to court," and the courts come out and said, "It's like, no, you was given that, and it can be taken away by the state. Piss off." Okay, yeah, so it's going over all the backstory. Yeah, so yeah, that's all long and short of it. It's like Disney said we'll go to court, and the court says like get fucked, and it's like, well, Fuck you, Disney. You should just say fuck you, Disney anyway and stuff. But it's kind of nice to say like the judge is like, no, no, the state gave the state give it, the state can take it. It's like you had too good for too long. It's like you had like Disney had special treatment in Florida, and that any other company in the face of the planet would fucking kill for, and it's just like they pissed it away. It's like, well, you reap what you sow, you fucking cunts. COVID inquiry finds lockdowns were terrible while reporters call bullshit on government's lead academic advisor. Yeah. While America chose to ignore most COVID policy failures unless they can be used to score partisan political points, the British government has been running a COVID inquiry examining mistakes the government made to better prepare for the next pandemic. The proceedings took an interesting turn in recent days when top government advisor Mark Woolhouse at the University of Edinburgh lambasted the BBC for misrepresenting COVID risk to promote harmful lockdowns, while senior government advisor Schrader, Devi, also at the University of Edinburgh, kind of admitted that she maybe perhaps gave poor advice, alerting several reporters who began calling her out on social media and documenting her blatant lies. Yeah, so this is kind of like more of the same shit we covered, especially with like, for example, Fauci, like with Fauci and the 6 foot distancing thing of how like they literally just made that shit up, and it's kind of like more of the same stuff. What was the rationale for this? It's like shrug. It's like, well, fuck you. And of course, you go on the mouthpiece of the government that is literally the BBC and shit. Like literally the government and stuff, and it's like of course it was all bullshit. Like this is like this, I know this, we all know this and stuff. But it's better late than never, and I kind of hope. I don't know. I, I try not to be a pessimist. I'm also not an optimist. I'm kind of like a whatever Ian. But hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That's all you can do. Okay, this one's a little amusing. Okay, the other half of the Man Show, not named Adam Carolla, Jimmy Kimball suggests Joe Biden having dementia is a crazy conspiracy theory. Fuck this cunt. God damn, fuck this cunt. This is what we like to call a useful idiot. This is the visage of a useful idiot. No thoughts, head empty. During a monologue about Taylor Swift psyop, late night comedian Jimmy Kimmel suggested that it was a crazy conspiracy theory to believe that Joe Biden might be suffering from dementia. Kimmel weighed in on assertions by Trump supporters that the NFL might be involved in promoting Swift as part of a voter recruitment strategy to help Biden campaign. As we previously highlighted, the media has played up the NFL angle in a bid to dismiss the entire issue, attacking conservatives who talked about it as uncringed hanks. Unhinged cranks. I can't talk. This despite the fact that the New York Times reported the Biden campaign does have a Taylor Swift strategy that could involve Biden appearing one of Swift's concerts before election. This is not really anything new. Like politicians will, do press ops with celebrities and stuff just to drum up support. They do this all the time. So like I've been kind of half paying attention to the Taylor Swift psyop meme that's been making around and stuff, but it's not really a psyop thing. It's kind of just like business as usual. It's kind of like normal business as far as politics go, to drum up support with the youth, as it were. It's like, okay, where are the kids into? Okay, bring them in, and we'll do a photo op kind of thing. And stuff. They do it all the time. Like I don't get it why the Taylor Swift one is being a thing. I don't get it. He then characterized the belief that Joe Biden is suffering from early onset dementia as part of some crazy talk circulated by Republicans. So let me get this straight. It's like the same people who believe Joe Biden has dementia needs Kamala Harris to feed him butterscotch tapioca every night also believes that he has somehow planned to execute a diabolically brilliant scheme to fix the NFL playoffs so his biggest pop star in the world could pop up on Jumbotron during Super Bowl during the Kia and Tostitos commercials, hypnotize her 11-year-old fans into voting Joe Biden. These people think football is fake and wrestling is real, he added. Kimmel's attempt to throw Biden in a very clear cognitive decline with substantially more nebulous claim that NFL games are being rigged is an interesting way of trying to dismiss something real that is very much harming Biden's poll numbers. And let's be real, a lot of professional sports on some level are rigged to a certain extent. Let's not kid ourselves. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money in some of that shit. Letter. Princeton State of the University letter claims critics use anti Semitic concerns as a stalking horse for other agendas. This one's weird. Princeton University President Christopher L. Eisgruber, 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 said certain critics of American universities use public outrage about anti Semitism as an excuse to justify other agendas. This feels like projection to me. I'm just going to call it right here. I'm calling projection on this one. On January 18th, Eisgruber, Herr Eisgruber, published his annual State of the University letter to address the state of the university, its progress towards strategic goals, and major issues relevant to our mission and higher education more broadly. Or putting down crapper as most higher education is these days, I digress. Through acknowledging that anti Semitism is an ugly and vicious form of hatred that has produced horrific suffering and injustice throughout history, it is always unacceptable. Herr Eisgruber claimed that some people have seized upon public outrage about anti Semitism as a stalking horse for other agendas, including most notably attacks upon efforts that we and others make to ensure that our colleagues and colleges and universities are places where students, faculty, researchers, and staff from all backgrounds can thrive. Okay, but are you for or against anti Semitism? Answer the question. Oh, God. Some of these arguments are nakedly partisan gerrymands, but others come from centrist voices. A prominent example, letter variety, is widely viewed as a 6-minute video opinion piece by the respected CNN journalist Fareed Zakaria, alleging that American universities have been neglecting a core focus of excellence in order to pursue a variety of agendas, many of them clustered around diversity and inclusion, he continued. Yes, we've been covering this for a while now, and this has been going on for years at this point. It's kind of just like, yeah, I like this here point where it's like you're dodging the question. Herr Einskube then criticized Zakaria's stance, saying that these attacks are wrong. America's leading universities are more dedicated to scholarly excellence today than any point in their history. Bullshit. Bullshit. And our commitment to inclusivity is essential to existence. Also bullshit. Fuck you. He added that it is wrong to insist that there is a choice made between resolutely seeking excellence and aggressively promoting exclusivity. These are mutually exclusive things, you fucking twat. Fuck. I hate these people. Herr Einsgruber also hit back against Zakaria's claim that the universities have not been performing well in defending Jewish students against anti-Semitism on campus, alleging that Princeton universities do support the well-being of Jewish students in many ways, though including through workshops on Jewish identity and anti-Semitism through dynamic and attractive versions of what might, for those who like terminology more than I do, be called safe spaces. On January 29, Campus Reform reported on the Princeton student journalist who was bullied by a pro-Palestinian student while covering protests. The student journalist was then penalized by Princeton. The decision was condemned by the Foundation of Individual Rights and Expression and the Anti-Defamation League. Broken clock, right twice a day. Herr Eisengruber also sent a letter on December 13th suggesting that MIT President Sally Kornbluth and since resigned Harvard University and University of Pennsylvania Presidents Claudine Gay and Liz McGill were not met with civility and respect during last December congressional hearings, in which three refused to state that calling the genocide of Jews is unequivocally and unacceptable in the campuses where the campus reform. Oh God, fuck! You can't make this shit up. Mass media die off continues as ambitious nonpartisan startup suddenly goes dark. The news website launched just 8 months ago with 50 million and tall ambitions to rival the likes of Los Angeles Times suddenly halted operations on Wednesday. In doing so, The Messenger became the latest outlet to generate its own grim headlines about the financial state of journalism in the United States. By closing less than a year after it launched, The Messenger will now be one of the biggest busts in annals of online news, writes Benjamin Mullen in the New York Times. By Wednesday evening, all content had been stripped from themessenger.com, which now only displays the outlet's name and general contact email address. There are no severance packages for terminated employees whose health insurance will come to a screeching halt. Because fuck you, poor people. Founder Jimmy Finkelstein. Look at that nose. Just look at it. Founder Jimmy Finkelstein. I am definitely hitting the soundboard for this one. Oh God, what did I even call it? I'm finding this because I'm doing this for me at this point. God damn it. Oh, I have it here. Oh my God, am I blind? Fuck, what the hell did I call the MP? What was it called? Uh, totally not. Okay, this is gonna bug me now. Music, other, other, merchant, not the happy merchant. Motherfucker, I don't think I have it on here. This is gonna be rectified right the fuck now. Let's see. Streaming. Soundboard list. Let's see. Not the happy merchant song. Copy. Not. Paste. Save. Add it to list. Now in soundboard. Add. Let's see. PC. Data. Music. Other. Other. N. Not the happy merchant song. Apply. And move up to not. And you're not in the right alphabetical order either. Okay, there we go. Okay, all set up. Ahem. Okay, founder Jimmy Finkelstein. Founder Jimmy Finkelstein Okay, I did that for me. Founder Jimmy Finkelstein, who had envisioned the messenger would be an essential nonpartisan voice in the increasingly polarized media landscape, announced the move in an email staff Wednesday afternoon. The industry has faced extraordinary challenges this past year. The economic headwinds have left many media companies fighting for survival. Unfortunately, as a new company, we encountered even more significant challenges than others could not survive those headwinds. Messenger writer Jim Laporta tweeted that Finkelstein was scooped up by other outlets who contacted staff members asking about the outlet's sudden failure. Oh God! You can't make this shit up. Just got laid off. I was expecting to learn this news from the employer, but instead, Messenger employees learned it via New York Times and 7-4. There is no severance. Healthcare will cease. I have to go clean out my desk from the DC office. Another writer, Jordan Hoffman, suggested the Messenger was doomed by hubris. All I know is that if I were to launch a media startup, I'd be sure to rent out an entire floor of a downtown Manhattan skyscraper that was 9/10 empty all day, and then fail to tell my employees they were laid off until they read about it in the New York Times. Right out of the gate, Finkelstein raced to build a large staff of journalists for a site he hoped would rival 60 Minutes and Vanity Fair in the public eye. At the same time, the media insider told New York Post whenever a new website references Noah magazine and TV show, you know they're not looking towards tomorrow. Yeah, that's true. Hired a bunch of people, can afford them, blah blah blah. I don't know. Again, other than easy jokes being made and stuff, it's just like traditional media, let's be real, is dying. And it deserved to die a long time ago. It died a long time ago. And ending on some good old fun stuff. Oh Zuck. Blood on your hands. Mark Zuckerberg obliterated as tech CEOs grilled over child sexual exploitation. We've been covering this for a while now. In that they'll say like Musk and X and stuff. It's just like, oh, all the pedophiles are hiding there. It's like, no, all the pedophiles work and operate on Facebook. Fuck off. It's just like, uh, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and other social media executives are grilled over the issue of child sexual exploitation on their platforms. In the Wednesday hearing of the Senate Judiciary Committee, the executives from Discord, Meta, Snap, TikTok, and X were asked to explain the safety features of their respective apps. Mr. Zuckerberg, you and your companies before us have blood on your hands. You have a product that's killing people, and said committee ranking member Lindsey Graham, Republican, South Carolina. These companies must be reined in. The worst is yet to come, he added. Senator Ted Cruz then shocked the audience, grilling Zuckerberg over Meta-owned Instagram and connecting pedophiles with sexual exploitation material, with the company even flagging certain content and then letting people continue on it. Zuckerberg issued a rare apology to the families and parents of children who have been harmed by the platform. I'm sorry for everything that you have all been through, he said awkwardly. No one should go through the things that you families have suffered. And this is why we invest so much, and we're going to continue doing industry wide efforts to make sure no one has to go through the things your family had to suffer. Yeah, so again, it's like again our favorite child. The lawmaker concluded his speech by urging Congress to update Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which currently shields the tech industry from accountability. He argued that adopting the law is essential to hold tech companies responsible for their actions and protect children from exploitation. I'm sure Null has issues. Might have words about this thought. Oh God. I'm just here to laugh at Zuck having to deal with the regular humans and having to don the human skin and pretend to be human for a little while, but getting grilled. And this is what I'm here for this one here. And that's all I got. Hour 40. Yeah. So I'm liking the Monday and Thursday thing because it gives more days in between streams to pad out the news article list. Have like a more meaty stream instead of just breezing through in like 30 minutes. I like this. So, thanks for coming. Take it easy. Catch you later.